In a dimly lit training gym filled with sweat and echoes of determination, Gervonta "Tank" Davis was sharpening his tools against giants. The leaked footage that emerged from his camp wasn't ordinary. It showed a smaller man dismantling opponents nearly twice his size. The sound of each punch slicing through the air was a reminder. Tank wasn't training to survive Jake Paul. He was preparing to dominate him. Observers inside the camp say these sessions weren't staged for clout. Tank's team intentionally brought in heavyweight sparring partners to recreate the kind of power and reach advantage Jake Paul would bring into the ring. It was a calculated move, one meant to harden Davis against any illusion that size alone could dictate the outcome. In the footage, you could see him slipping punches, countering with precision, and sending a man easily 80 pounds heavier stumbling across the ring. There was no fear in his movements, only control, rhythm, and quiet confidence. Still, not everyone was convinced this fight should even happen. Promoter Eddie Hearn made his position brutally clear. He respected the spectacle's ability to draw attention, but to him, this wasn't boxing. "It's entertainment," he said, calling it a freak show that blurred the line between sport and performance. In Hearn's view, boxing is sacred, a craft built on fairness, discipline, and respect. A lightweight fighting a cruiserweight, he warned, turns that legacy into theater. "I don't want to be involved," he said flatly, "but I respect that it'll do big numbers." And he's right about one thing: it will. Jake Paul has mastered the art of selling tension. Every fight he's ever chosen walks a fine line between credibility and chaos. He selects opponents not just for their skill, but for the storyline they represent. Whether it's fighting an MMA legend past his prime or a boxer smaller in size, Jake knows how to create drama that pulls millions of eyes. Fans tune in not necessarily for boxing, but for spectacle, for that addictive balance between control and risk. And this matchup with Gervonta Davis? It's the biggest gamble yet. Davis is arguably one of the most technically gifted fighters of his generation. He's fast, patient, and devastatingly accurate. Jake Paul, on the other hand, is a natural showman with legitimate power, but limited experience. The weight difference between them, nearly 80 pounds, is staggering. Yet the fight works because both men carry something the other wants. Jake craves legitimacy. Tank craves expansion. And both understand that fame and fear sell better together than apart. Paulie Malignaggi, a former world champion and respected boxing analyst, added his own perspective. He called the fight what it is, an exhibition. "You can't bet on it," he reminded fans. "It's not sanctioned. It's a show." To him, this wasn't about rankings or titles. It was about entertainment in its purest, most unpredictable form. "It's a bit of a circus," he said bluntly. "If they don't stage it, Davis has a real chance. But if it's set up like a sparring session, anything can happen." Those words echoed the confusion many purists feel. Boxing has always been about legitimacy, about earning respect through merit, not marketing. But the sport has changed. In the age of social media, personality often outweighs pedigree. Jake Paul understands that better than anyone. His ability to manipulate narratives, provoke opponents, and control attention has turned him from YouTuber to global headline. Wade Plemons, host of The Wade Concept, put it best. "Jake doesn't just throw punches," he said. "He plays psychological games." In Plemons' eyes, Jake has used the same playbook he's mastered online to pull Gervonta into this fight, using money, attention, and opportunity as bait. "He made it impossible to ignore," Wade explained. And that's Jake's real weapon: control over the narrative. But for all the marketing power, one truth remains: inside the ring, none of it will matter. Davis has been seen grinding through brutal training sessions, often against men twice his size, with no shortcuts and no media circus around him. Those who've been near him say his focus feels different this time. He's quiet, calm, and cold. No mind games, no trash talk, just silent intent. To him, this fight isn't a performance. It's a mission, a chance to remind the world what real boxing looks like when stripped of filters and spectacle. And while many question why he took the fight, those close to Tank see it differently. He's not chasing clout, he's taking control. By stepping into Jake Paul's world, he's testing whether the purity of skill can still overpower the noise of fame. To Davis, every punch he throws represents years of sacrifice, of long nights and early mornings when nobody was watching. He's not trying to prove himself to Jake Paul. He's proving himself to boxing. Even with critics lining up to condemn the event, the hype is undeniable. Social media threads are flooded with predictions, arguments, and wild theories. Some fans believe Jake's size will crush Tank. Others argue that skill will dismantle brute strength. The debate has become a cultural war, old school versus new school, legacy versus virality. Eddie Hearn and other purists see danger in this trend. If Jake Paul wins, it could open the floodgates for more influencer versus boxer events, where spectacle outweighs substance. The fear is that true champions, fighters who dedicate their lives to the craft, could be pushed aside in favor of celebrities with better engagement metrics. But if Davis wins and wins dominantly, it could send a message that boxing still belongs to the boxers. That technique, patience, and legacy still matter more than clicks and chaos. Yet even the skeptics can't look away. Because beneath the criticism lies fascination. People are drawn to this fight the same way they slow down for a crash on the highway. They don't want to approve, but they can't help but stare. The spectacle may offend tradition, but it fuels the same curiosity that once made boxing a global obsession. The anticipation of what might happen when two worlds collide. Davis knows this better than anyone. He's heard every accusation, that he's selling out, that he's dodging real contenders, that he's lowering himself to Jake Paul's level. But to him, this isn't retreat. It's infiltration. He's entering the circus not to join it, but to expose it. To remind everyone that no matter how big the opponent or the paycheck, there's still an art to this sport. And that art lives in timing, not trends. Inside his camp, trainers describe him as colder than ever. There's no smiling for cameras, no showboating for headlines, just repetition. Jab, slip, counter, step, reset. Each movement honed until it's pure instinct. They say when Davis locks eyes with an opponent, he doesn't see fame or fear. He sees openings. And Jake Paul, with all his confidence and camera presence, has plenty of them. The weight difference might make this fight look uneven, but boxing isn't fought on paper. Power means nothing without precision, and size means nothing if your timing fails. For all his bulk, Jake will still need to catch a fighter whose rhythm has broken champions in half. The upcoming clash in Miami isn't just a fight, it's a test of what the sport has become. One man built his name through sweat and sacrifice. The other built his empire through screens and sound bites. Both have power. Both have something to lose. But when the lights dim and the bell rings, everything outside that ring disappears. Fame, money, critics, they all fade. What remains are instincts, timing, courage. And somewhere in that moment, the world will see which kind of power truly matters, the one earned in silence, or the one amplified by noise. For boxing, this isn't just another event, it's a crossroad. A moment that could redefine whether the future of the sport belongs to fighters or to showmen. And when Tank Davis steps through those ropes, the answer will come one punch at a time.